Road signs are made out of aluminum, and I compared them with the aluminum I used on my past 2 boat builds, and it is almost the identical thickness to that aluminum. And like I said, I've seen people do this in forums before, talk about use road signs for boats because it's cheap. Well, the problem about it is, how do you get road signs legally? Obviously, it's against law to just take a road sign. And I don't know if you've ever seen them for sale anywhere, like in antique places and stuff like that, and they'll want an arm and a leg for a stop sign. Will go for 85 to 100 bucks, and that's ridiculous. You can get a whole 4x8 sheet of aluminum for 150 bucks. Well, at last I checked, it's probably more than that now. But there is a legal way to do it. Big shout out to my fiance, Amanda. She is a police investigator for a neighboring town, and one day I asked her, I said, what do y'all do with all the road signs that y'all take down, decommission, whatever? And she said, let me find out for you. And she talked to Public Works, and lo and behold, they had a bunch of signs. They wanted me to come get these signs because apparently it was their job to take them off the post. They had recently put in a roundabout in their town, so they had a bunch of signs laying around at their little Public Works department place, and they were supposed to, I guess, separate them because I think the poles that the signs are attached to are made of steel, I guess for scrap purposes. I don't know exactly what they eventually do with them, recycle them, I'm not sure, but that was their job, and I saved them some work. So I had to take all the signs off the posts, and it took me a while, but all of them were fairly easy to get, and I kind of hit the mother load on signs. I got a bunch of them. And after I got these, a buddy of mine I went to school with, Anthony Finch, works at my town Public Works, so I hit him up and asked him if they had any, and they had a few, and he gave those to me. So I appreciated Anthony, and I appreciated Amanda, and Atoka and Mumford Public Works. So just so you guys know, you can get these signs legally. Just, I mean, maybe I'm just really lucky and was able to stumble upon a couple of Public Works that had some signs that they wanted to get rid of. But go to your local town, the Public Works people, and ask them, you got any signs? And if they say no, go to the neighboring town. Surely somebody's got some signs that they're wanting to get rid of. It's worth a shot because metal is very expensive. Like I said, last year when I bought the metal for those boats, it was $150 a sheet, and then you have to go get it. You're not going to want to pay to have a 4x8 sheet of aluminum delivered to your house. So we're going to use these signs. Now, none of these signs are big enough for one piece. You see I got some signs laid out in here already. So it's going to be more cutting involved. The boat builds before, I just made like a big template, laid it on my sheet of aluminum, marked it out, and then cut it. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that with this. I'm going to have to cut one piece at a time, and obviously none of the pieces are going to fit, exactly on one of these braces or ribs where it needs to be a joint. So, like I said, it's going to be more cutting, but a little work won't hurt you. So we're going to try it, and I'm going to use an angle grinder with a cutting blade to cut these. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a template to use to help me cut these out. Since it's just, one piece at a time, I think what I'm going to do is just, pull some measurements and cut it that way. And I'm also going to do these upside down. This part of the sign is like a sticker, and I don't know how hard that would be to come off. So we're going to use this side, the shiny side, because it'll be easy to, scuff it up with like some 220 grit or something, and then clean it off with acetone. That way we'll be sure to get a good adhesion with our HydroTurf. I'm going with HydroTurf on this boat, by the way. These right here wound up being pretty close to the size for the floor of the boat, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. I finally did kind of get an idea of how I'm going to deck this boat out. I'm putting a gun box on this side. It's going to be a short gun box, but it fits my gun. I have a 870 Super Mag, and it fits here, and that's where I'm going to build a gun box. So I'm going to start working on that side of the boat and work to it, and then in the front part of this seat right here, I'm going to do a small floor, and then in the next video we'll be going into framing this front deck. So Today's video, we are using street signs to floor the boat in the back and this little spot up front. Let's get to work. All right, to attach this floor down, I'm gonna use these rivets right here. These are flush mount rivets. You can see they're kind of got a little cone shape to them. So what we'll have to do is go ahead and drill your hole out. And then I'll use this bit right here to try to kind of countersink the hole a little bit. And then pop the rivets in. And when they go in, well, when they go in like this, they'll be flush. So it'll be smooth for our turf. don't think that looks too bad. I do see one thing that I didn't think about. I should have used bigger signs. I was lazy about it. As you can see, these 4 signs almost fit perfect. I was able to shove these signs under the seat a little bit to where it hits this brace halfway. And then those, as you see, I mean, they're just a hair short here. And they're a little bit more short here. But like I said, I'm putting a gun box right here. So I'm not worried about that. And that ain't enough to be worried about. So that's why I use these signs. But after I got them put in, I'm noticing this right here, this splice. Now, I believe once I get the HydroTurf on here, that is gonna lay down pretty good. What I think the problem is this brace right here is bent. The bottom of the boat has a buckle kind of right there, I guess where somebody dropped it on something at one time. So it's kind of got this piece kicked up a little bit. Like these right here are pretty flush, but still if you step on it, of course, it's gonna move. But I think once the HydroTurf's in here, it's gonna kind of even everything out. And I think it's gonna be okay. But if I had to do it again, which I gotta do it up front, use a longer sign. That way you don't have these butt joints that don't have anything holding them down. But I mean, for free, I think that's gonna be fine. Worked out pretty good. There's a little bit more cutting. Of course, we had that little funky centerpiece, which, I mean, I could have put anything in there. I could have just put the piece of cardboard in there or whatever, just for filler or silicone or something to level it out. But I had some scrap aluminum, just threw that in there. You know, I could have took these rounded corners out if I wanted to, but like I said, I think HydroTurf is gonna cover most of that. Now, for up here, I wanna go from the seat to this brace right here. I'll probably go, I mean, if it goes a little past the brace, that's fine. Because this, I'm gonna build up as a bulkhead, and the front deck's gonna go from the front of the boat to right here. That way, if somebody's hunting in this seat, in the middle seat of the boat, they can put their feet on either side, they can straddle it, you know, whatever. But if I had that deck all the way to here, your feet can only go to this side, or you're gonna be laying your feet down this way, unless you have seats, and depending on your duck blind, you might not wanna be up that high. So that's my thinking anyways. Let's go ahead and knock this out. Well, all right, that worked out pretty good. Other than the little snafu I had earlier with wishing I would have used a bigger piece, that's really the only problem I ran into, where you gotta butt those pieces together. And I really don't think the back is gonna be that big of a deal once the HydroTurf goes on it. Also, that gun box is gonna kind of square everything up too, I believe. So yeah, I mean, I don't see why this couldn't be a very easy and cheap option. It was actually a lot easier cutting this stuff than the big full sheets, because of the full sheets, at least with my setup, I mean, I'm doing all this crap in my garage, and right outside my garage, I only have 2 small sawhorses. You put that giant piece of metal on them 2 sawhorses, and aluminum has so much bow to it, and you get to cutting, it's just flopping all around, and it's loud. My neighbors hate me probably, but those signs, it was a few more cuts than I would have made, but I felt a lot safer, you know, if I messed up one of those versus if you mess up a cut on a $150 sheet of aluminum, it kind of sucks. Not to mention, you know, you try to cut it close and then you'll test fit it and it don't work, and then you're dealing with this giant piece of metal versus these smaller pieces of metal. Now, I really like this, to be honest with you. I hope I can get a never-ending supply of signs without having to steal them. So yeah, I mean, this I thought this was going to be a lot longer project than it was. I mean, this took me like 2 hours tops, I think. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I wish I had my metal here to go ahead and start framing out that box. and the bulkhead and stuff, but I don't think that stuff's going to get here until first part of next week. So that's going to be that for this video. Like I said, you know, talk to your public works people, not your town, your neighboring towns, and see if you can't scrounge up some signs. But don't, if you live in my area, don't ask because I need it. But anywhere else, that's fine. So this is a very good option, I believe, for doing your floors. And like I said, I'm gonna do the same thing with the deck and the front part of the bulkhead and the gun box. The sides of it is going to be out of these signs. I think I have plenty of material to do all that for this little boat, and probably have some left over for the next build. All right, next up is that gun box and framing out this front deck, and I'll probably go ahead and do putting the floor, the signs on the front deck too, hopefully. I don't know, I might do the gun box as its own video because that's something new to me, and I think I might make a rod holder like I did on the orange boat, if you recall, using the golf tubes. I think I'm gonna do that through the seats right there where that gun box is going to, so it'll be a rod locker slash gun box. So dual purpose. I think that can be its own video. Well, all right guys, I really appreciate it. See you on the next one.